How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Exela. I've been getting a lot of questions. Many people are saying, Dre, we need to get an update. Did you see it ended up having a green day? And I'm like, yes, I did. Considering how volatile the markets were, Exela showed a lot of strength. So I want to make sure if you are inside of this play or you're thinking to jump into this play, what you want to look out for. So I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Exela. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 76 cents, being up 5.26%. On the low, it tested 72 cents, and then on the high, testing 86 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 66.628 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 41.385 million shares. So we had well above the average in regards to volume, and this contributed to the strength that we saw in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is at 51.83, so pretty much right there in the middle. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, we are below the 50-day, but we did finish above the 21-day EMA at 73 cents. So far for Exela, the chart has been looking good. So we did have a lot of volatility today, but of course we ended up seeing a high of 86 cents. And this is a great accomplishment because going into tomorrow or even going into next week, if we could surpass this level at 86 cents, we could start seeing a move going all the way here to around 93 cents. So again, something to keep an eye on because if we could break through 93 cents, I don't see why this stock cannot go to at least $1. Now, as far as if we end up having a pullback, then you want to see if it could hold up 70 cents. It tested the low of 72 cents, but 70 cents holding it up would be very key because if it decides just to consolidate, that does look bullish as well, and we could still make that move going to $1. The only time I would start seeing weakness in this stock, unless it breaks through 70 cents and then continuing to break through 65 cents, that's where I'd say, you know what, it doesn't look that great. But for the most part, all it needs to do is hold up 70 cents or at least 68 cents at the worst, and it'll still be able to look strong and get that move up. So overall, chart is looking bullish. Let's see how it performs. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Exela. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So we don't have any recent filings for the 16th, but we have a good amount for the 15th and as well as for the 14th. So we're going to go over the ones that are most notable, and of course for the red ones, these are closed positions. So we have Jeffries Group LLC that purchased 100,000 shares. You also see X Squared that purchased 10,000, and Beijing Capital Management LP that purchased 10,700. We also do see Cantor Fitzgerald that purchased 3 million shares. Very bullish stands right there. And then we have Marshall Waste that purchased 37,699 shares. We also have 2 Sigma Securities LLC that purchased 41,567 shares. And then we have Castle Knight Management LP that purchased 278,300 shares. We also see Sabby Management LLC that purchased 207,093 shares. We also have HRT Financial LP that purchased 295,847 shares. And we also have Alpine Alpine Global Management LLC that purchased 142,002 shares. And then we have XTX Topco Limited that purchased 38,721 shares. And then we have the state of Wyoming that purchased 25,380 shares. And we have EJF Capital LLC that purchased 474,967 shares. And this is for the 11th. So I went a little bit too far. Now let's go into the short interest information. The off-exchange short volume ratio is at 48.59%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4.05 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 150,000, updated 7 minutes ago. And then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 3.07%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 15th, it was at 53.11. And then for the close of the 16th, which was yesterday, it's at 48.59. So it has gone down a bit, but one thing that remains the same, Exela does have short squeeze potential, and this is why when we see above average volume in regards to buying, we see some nice moves in the stock. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Exela. So on the inflow, it's at 15.20, and then on the outflow, it's at 14.84. So it's an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 2.07. On the medium, it was 9.09. And then on the small, it was 4.04. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 2.87. On the medium, it was 8.41. And then on the small, it was 3.56. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for February the 17th, which is today, ended up being a negative outflow just over 795,000. And when we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, represent whales, institutions, or funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 36.11%. So what this tells me right away, there's a good amount of traders that are going in and out of this play, and that's why you're seeing a good amount of volatility. It also does show there are also many who are adding to their positions, as we can see from the order flow. So that's one thing you're going to want to continue to keep an eye on, along with that above average volume, because it is a penny stock currently at the moment. And this is why you want to make sure you have a solid entry and as well as an exit strategy. So let's go into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Exela, I must say it did a fairly good job considering how choppy the markets were. As far as support is concerned, you're going to want to see it continue to hold up at 70 cents. As far as resistance, yes, it's right there at 90 cents. If it can get past 90 cents, this is where we want to see that move going to $1. If you want to go into a swing trade, I would suggest putting a stop loss right around 60 cents so you can protect yourself from the downside, and it still keeps you in the play, because I feel if it breaks below 60 cents, it'll be getting down into the low 50s. So again, this is why it's important that you have a strategy. But for the most part, if this trend does continue, it should make a test to 90 cents. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. So this is why we have more volume coming into the stock like we saw today with that buying pressure, it can continue to make those moves up. Plus on top of that, when we took a look at the recent institutional ownership, there is a lot of institutions who have loaded up on shares, most notably being Cantor Fitzgerald that had a position of 3 million shares. And we see as far as institutions are concerned, they are taking notice of Exela. So I know many long-term investors are going to be happy to hear this, because the stock has been beaten down quite a bit and there should be some upside in the play, especially since we've been seeing as far as small caps and medium cap stocks taking drastic pullbacks. It's only a matter of time, especially as this year progresses, we'll start seeing these stocks starting to bounce back, and Exela is definitely going to be one of them. So let's see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. I will continue to keep you guys updated. We'll talk soon.